Alrighty, so to continue, we're going into the 1900s. So starting with, just going to briefly touch on it, the zeitgeist of world power. So this is in the year 1900 to the year 1909, that decade. And basically what was going on was that the United States was starting to actually establish itself as the world power and experiencing numerous different advantages and developments. And so that kind of leads us into what happens with World War I. Basically, everything gets halted. So with World War I, basically, the world experiences a war that no country has ever seen before, and it was on such a large scale that it was unprecedented, the number of lives lost. And as you can see in that picture, that is a picture of a soldier suffering from PTSD, and it was very traumatic to a lot of these people. But basically what ended up happening was the exact same thing that happened to the soldiers of the Civil War. They were just told to kind of walk it off, shake it off. And they actually called this time they called it shell shock or shell shocked. Basically when you were near like a cannon or a loud gun and it went off, they would assume you had like a concussion, but then they started seeing that some people were actually not having were having symptoms and had never been around any of those loud machineries, so they didn't have that to understand. And that's when they went back to that stigma. While you're having these symptoms, we don't understand. So basically what we're just going to say is you're cowardly and weak. We can't tell you anything. And what really sucked was that during all this, they did have a slight treatment of sorts, and it basically just consisted of a few days of comfort with the firm expectation that the soldier would return to duty. And they thought it successful because 65% of shell-shocked soldiers ultimately returned to the front lines. So even though we did see success, like I said before, they just kind of swept it under the rug. You either suck it up or you get called a pansy because you can't function. And so that is all for this little segment.